Who doesn't like dinosaur horror? Especially in the month of October. This is like the perfect time to dive into some terrifying dinosaur-related things. One aspect of dinosaur horror is like these sort of analog found footage style horror films that can be found on the internet. There are some that are like more Jurassic Park themed, kind of take place in that universe. They use like Jurassic Park models and whatnot. And then there are some that just kind of like tell their own story. One of those is done by Azun Studios, known as Prehistoric Emergence. This is a little series that has been going on for over a year now, and the most recent episodes have been absolutely awesome, with some really terrifying imagery that I just think that we need to talk about a little bit. So there's like two episodes in particular that I want to talk about because these are the two that kind of like stood out the most to me. I haven't watched the whole series yet, but these two are certainly really cool, and I just want to talk about them. And also, full on warning, go and check these out first before listening to my video. That way you get the proper experience first and foremost, and then you can come back and then we can kind of discuss it a little bit. That sound good? Awesome. So first, a quick little rundown. The Prehistoric Emergence is basically this strange opening of like a lot of different portals, openings in caves. Giant pits are opening up, and these giant blue holes are just appearing out of nowhere, which is causing a lot of extinct creatures to come back to the present day, which is causing a lot of terrible things for a lot of people and creates for some very creepy moments. The first one that we're going to talk about, Dire Encounter, as the name suggests, focuses on Anasaon, otherwise known as the dire wolf, an animal that kind of got really popular recently. I'm sure that you've heard about it. I really quite like this one. So the stage is kind of set. You have your main character who is going to search for a friend of theirs that has recently gone missing, known as Ben. He travels to the park at the dead of night, which is already a very creepy setting. I don't really like I don't like nature at night. It's like when you're walking around aimlessly and it's nighttime, it's really creepy. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because there's things out there that could attack you. We're greeted to the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus ringtone, which is, just awesome, kind of gets you into that headspace. And he finds the remains of his friend. By the way, the acting here was really good. Like, they really sold the idea that, yeah, this is a terrible situation that we're currently in. That is then later met by howls in the distance, and eventually he is surrounded by dire wolves, and of course, the rest is probably, up for the imagination, but I'm sure you can guess what happened. This one's very good because, dire wolves, they are this type of canine that is larger than modern day gray wolves. So that's already kind of like a whole terrifying situation. Like if you saw a dog that is basically as big as the dire wolves were, I'd be terrified, that's for sure, especially at night with their eyes reflecting in the light and, the fact that there's multiple of them, especially considering the fact that they're in a place that they probably should not be, that being in the middle of what seems like a public park. The sound design, the quality of the CGI, and everything about it just is really good. Like, I really quite enjoyed this one, but it's definitely not my favorite. My favorite is The Friendly Giant. This is, of course, a short one like the previous one, and it too is very simple, but I like the whole thing that it focuses on, which is what we're going to talk about after I kind of like do the little breakdown. So a content creator hears rumors of a type of behemoth that is living in Argentina. Like, there's rumors of this giant animal that's just kind of existing there. There's evidence of footprints, toppled trees, things like that. So she wants to go and investigate and see if she can figure out what creature is actually here. Well, as she goes on, she finds more and more evidence of what animal this is, and she concludes that this is likely an herbivorous animal, which means that she is safe. Eventually, she finds it, and it's revealed to be an Argentinosaurus with the Prehistoric Kingdom model, so it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's just kind of like walking around all chill, just existing, enjoying its life, being absolutely beautiful. She even mentions that it's beautiful, which I do agree. I think that if I saw animals like this in real life, it'd be incredibly beautiful. But she broke one of the main rules when it comes to like interacting with wildlife, and she got too close. Eventually, the Argentinosaurus picks her up and drops her from a terrible height. All the while, she is just making these terrible noises and, of course, screaming and all that. Again, the acting or the voice acting is just very well done here. I really like this one because of dinosaur misconceptions, basically. For whatever reason, it's thought that herbivorous dinosaurs would be friendly, and you would only have to worry about the carnivorous ones because, of course, the carnivorous ones want they want to eat you. Or I wouldn't really say the thought is that they would be friendly. The thought is that they wouldn't really even want to deal with you. Like there's, they'd be peaceful, so to speak. This happens all the time in media, especially with the Jurassic franchise, where you see like main characters just like interacting with a giant Parasaurolophus or getting really close to these huge sauropods and stating that they're safe because they only eat plants. And for whatever reason, a lot of the public has that idea too. Like the simple idea that they, just because they're not actively hunting you means that it's safe to go near them. Obviously, that's incredibly flawed. If we just look at today's animals, bison, rhinos, elephants, oftentimes if you get a little bit too close, well, there's a good chance you're probably going to go home really injured if you get to go home at all. Wild animals are wild animals, and we need to practice safe behavior around any type of wild animal, regardless on whether or not it wants to eat you or if it doesn't want to eat you. And honestly, sometimes herbivorous animals may eat you, to supplement their diet with extra protein. Some herbivorous animals do that today. So I loved the fact that we get to see that on full display here. Sure, it is a large herbivorous animal. It wants to spend most of its time eating plants. But she got a little bit too close. Maybe she spooked the Argentinosaurus and it's like, oh shoot, there's a thing here. I got to get rid of it. And then it's just kind of like acting in self-defense mode. And eventually you kind of see the result of something like that. And I think that we need more stuff like this. I think we need more herbivorous animals to be the focus of something terrifying. And not just Therizinosaurus. Everybody likes to use Therizinosaurus as the terrifying herbivorous animal. Dominion did it. There's been like a few dinosaur horror games that did it with Therizinosaurus. It doesn't just have to be Therizinosaurus. Other dinosaurs can be very, very terrifying. Shoot, even recently there's been this like TikTok trend, I suppose. There's just been a few people who posted TikTok videos where basically the whole premise is that they're filming like a crowded area. And then they would say, imagine if there was a Stegosaurus here. Everybody would be terrified, but not me because I know that it eats plants. That is seriously so flawed to think about, especially something like Stegosaurus. Obviously, we don't know the temperament of a Stegosaurus because they are extinct. However, again, herbivorous animals are often more on edge than carnivorous animals because herbivorous animals are in a constant state of survival. So sometimes an herbivorous animal will just attack you if you look at it funny. The same was probably true for something like Stegosaurus, especially considering the fact that Stegosaurus had to worry about Allosaurus, Torvosaurus, and potentially Ceratosaurus. So yeah, herbivorous dinosaurs were probably not too peaceful either. Despite what is shown in media. But yeah, that one was my absolute favorite. I am watching a few more here and there, and they do have some really cool stuff. There's just something about the whole grainy, shaky, handheld footage that helps ground something like this and just makes it feel a lot more real, and by extension makes it feel a little bit more terrifying. I think it's certainly a very interesting concept and one that offers a lot of wiggle room. Obviously, we saw some Cenozoic creatures with the dire wolves, and we see some Mesozoic creatures like there's been, there's Argentinosaurus, there's been a Tyrannosaurus that is pretty creepy, and I'm not going to spoil anything with that, because you should probably watch it. But all around, it's just very good stuff. So I certainly can't wait to see more of this. I think that this is overall going like a fantastic series to kind of like sink your teeth into, especially if you really like, this sort of found footage style horror, because I certainly do. Again, it kind of feels a little bit more realistic, and by extension, it's something that helps me believe what I'm seeing on screen. So yeah, definitely go and check it out for yourself. I highly recommend it. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.